Thank you for being here, bro.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate you guys.
So I made the mistake myself calling you Josh a couple times, and I didn't even realize like that's the worst ever. So why is that? Why is Joshua? Like why?
Not the worst ever. I think you know what happened was I was younger. My parents were very faith-based, spiritual. They named me Joshua from Joshua in the Bible, Moses' assistant. Right, and then so as a young kid, they used to tell me, don't let anyone call you Josh because there's power in your name.
Wow.
But I was younger and didn't care.
Yeah.
But when I got older and really started exploring my faith, I was proud of the name Joshua. And it just, I kind of got to a point where I was like, yeah, I would just introduce myself as Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, grandfathered in with some people, younger kids who still call me Josh from when we were kids. I'm not going to be the artist formerly known as Josh, call me Joshua now. But I just introduced myself as Joshua, that's all.
Yeah, I feel that. That's cool. I respect that too.
Yeah, I mean, there is power in the name. So I'm like, and it just sounds cooler. I mean, it's Joshua. It's like,
sure.
Yeah.
So how long has Last Adam been around?
So Last Adam has technically been around like a year and a half. It's been, around in my head for like 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy how time flies. But it was a dream a long time ago before it ever launched. Yeah.
Do you feel like that you're like where you're at, where you want to be now from like where it started 8 years ago?
I don't think I'm where I want to be because you're always striving to be better. But I think also like the posture of just I'm grateful wherever I'm at. I'm just grateful people are wearing it. It's like I didn't know, and so I think that's kind of my posture. I'm always just going to be like striving to be better, but always grateful for where I'm at because, you can't sweat the little things. You can't, and I think it keeps you from comparison. It keeps you from all that. So yeah, I'm definitely just humbled and happy at where I'm at, which is I'm able to create and people, spending their hard-earned money on something I created allows me to just do something else.
Sure.
Until we, like I'm not making any money from it. It's just all being able to continue to create. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah.
This is your first brand that you've launched, but you're a designer in a lot of different ways. So one thing I was wondering is like why this brand as your first one?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't have because I wasn't going to start another brand. It's like I didn't want to start a fashion line. I didn't want to start a brand. I was interested in style since I was a kid, and then I technical trade as graphic designer I went to school for. And in the back of my mind, I said it was 8 years, like an 8-year dream, because I told myself, I don't see what I want to rock, which is like representing my faith in a way that I feel comfortable with, in a way that I feel like people who aren't even spiritual might feel comfortable with. That was really important to me. I didn't see it, and so that kind of seeded in my head 7 years ago, and I was like, if I ever did something, it would have to be something I truly care about. But I wasn't like striving for it. I didn't move to LA for it. I had another job, but then when I like to say God gave me the name, when I heard the name The Last Adam, which is straight from 1 Corinthians, I said, okay, that's it. So that's what sparked the brand. It wasn't like I was looking for something for 7 years and finally got it. It was like, if I ever do something, it has to be that meaningful, but it has to feel right. And the name The Last Adam just felt right. That was it.
Can you tell us some of the things that have been difficult for you, like maybe not even with just the brand, but just as a designer in your craft?
Man, I don't know if we got time. Difficult. It's like I think anything you're passionate about, anything you love, is just going to be difficult. That's just like surfing, man. It's like I bet. You probably look back at how hard some things have been.
For sure.
People look at you and you're like, oh man, he's just a great surfer, but I'm sure it was just hard. I don't even know what hard would be. Like, even getting good was hard. Getting up in the morning was hard. Yeah. I think. The difficult part is. There's a reason why I think you need resilience to end up getting to a place where you're, I don't know if you want to call it successful or content, satisfied. Whatever. The resilience is how you get there. And so you can't be resilient if it's not tough. You know, it doesn't. You know, it wouldn't make sense. But yeah, I think I couldn't even name. You know, couldn't start rattling off the tough things because every day there's something tough. You know, really, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah. It makes it all worth it. You know?
Yeah. So in your creative process, how do you start a design, and then how do you know when you're like, okay, that's the piece, I can move on?
That's a really good question. It's probably the hardest part about creating is knowing when to stop. I think it starts usually. It starts in pieces. I always tell creatives and designers, but it works with any artist, creative in general. Starting your design when you need to, when you're sitting at your computer, is like the worst time to start it because then there's all this pressure. So I usually starts in pieces. It's like inspiration first, but I've been looking at colors and fonts all the time. So I'll pull one and I'll just save it and remember that, and then you'll know. And then when I get the inspiration either from a devotional or a conversation or a message I'm listening to, it's like, oh, okay, let me try that phrase with that font I found 3 months ago, with that color palette I saw 2 weeks ago. So really the start is kind of this, you know, hodgepodge. It's like, I call it 24/7 designing. You just, you know, you probably can't see water without thinking about surfing on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's kind of like always there. Architects will they can't help but look at a building. And
right, but you see the dynamics in it.
Right.
You're like, oh, there's so many different.
Exactly. You're just always churning, and when you love it, it's not hard. You know, the start is just kind of, honestly, it's random. You know, it's never like, okay, I need every now and then. You know, but the process of always doing it will make those times when you actually need to do a design for something a little easier. But it's always going.
Wow.
And the stopping thing, honestly, man, I can't. It's kind of just like, I feel like it's removing the filler. Like, have you said what you needed to say? Once you've done that, you don't need to keep adding. You know, sometimes you actually need to take away. And I think probably the best way to know you're done is thinking about always remembering your purpose for why you're creating. And that way, you at least know you're close when that purpose is fulfilled. Like, okay, have we said everything we needed to say in this, you know, there's a blessing in the storm. Like, do I need to add more? Or is that strong enough, you know, or is there like something else, a visual might need to add that expresses that? But if you remember your why of your creating and remember what you're trying to do instead of needing to do something, just remember, like, what's the goal? What am I trying to say? At least once you get to the purpose of what you set out to say, you'll know that you're finished. But I do like to say the best designs are ones that aren't ever really done. I honestly believe that. I think the best creativity in general, not just design. I feel like there's always room to add. So I think, like, pulling back and keeping it minimal allows their space to always add to it. I think that's the best design. So there's kind of like this, like, catch-22.
Yeah.
You know, but it was a 5-year thing. I feel like the best designs are kind of like always leave a little bit. It's not overcrowded. You know, I think that's probably the best way. But it's such a hard thing, and it's hard to really answer. But that's probably the best answer I have for that.
That's beautiful insight. So what's next? So, like, and we know, like, you probably have had struggles up to this point, but you keep going, you keep pushing. What's next? I know you dropped like this new eternal like theme and line. Like, what's gonna be next for Joshua Rhodes and the Last Adam?
Yeah, I think, you know, every day I'm just trying to speak to what I feel like I need to hear. You know, like. Some form of who I've been needs to hear this. A lot of times I'm thinking about what I needed to hear when I was 15 or 16, what I needed to hear when I was in high school or middle school, because I think a lot of kids, I don't know if you guys can relate, but you kind of, it's not culturally relevant to talk about your faith. And I wanted to speak to that kid where it's like, no, you can, you know, this is what we're saying. I know this is, you know, not usually, you know, something you want to like express culturally, but I wanted to create something where kids can do that. And then even myself today, the designs that come across, a lot of times it's devotionals or something that I've been reading, been praying about, and I need to like reaffirm to myself, and then that's what's next, you know. So that's really,
it's like an endless well.
Yeah, endless, yeah. And there's no, you know, I think it's the best way to create is like not to have an end goal, but just to keep being fresh, keep wanting to find something new to say, and then that's what like keeps you going. You know, some things I'll design just because of like, oh, this is, I feel like I need to reaffirm this, and I know someone needs to see this, and I'll design it as a Instagram post, you know, quotes or something.
Right.
And people will, yo, is this going to be a shirt? I'm like, it is now. You know, and that's how it continues. And so, I mean, just specifically what's next, I did it because of quarantine and everything we're going through, and I did there's a blessing in the storm, you know, and I think you actually commented the Kirk Franklin joint. Yep. Yeah, you knew. It's like a song, a Kirk Franklin faith song that I've heard since I was a kid.
Right. And
with everything going on, like I listened to this song and I was like, oh, let me make that, and I did a design, and it just fit the time, and then that was going to be it until it was like, please make this a hoodie, please make this a t-shirt, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's next, and I think that's what's always next is what I feel like I want to reaffirm, and then what I hope people also are needing.
Yeah, like the engagement of what people need.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, that's so good.
Yeah, man. When we came up with this idea of excellence, you were one of the first people off the tip of our tongue that we were like, we have to have Joshua Rhodes 100%. Because you just exude that, like in every detail of your life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're someone who, like, I'm encouraged because you are not. You wear your faith on the front of your life, and you also match that with your excellence. Like it's almost like they are interchangeable. So thank you for that, bro.
Thank you, appreciate it, and I need to hear that because I don't always feel that way. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Last question: what's your favorite color and why?
Favorite color. Right now, my favorite color is probably. It's probably this like lilac purple color. And why? Because it's the color of our next hoodie. So I'm like,
appreciate it, Joshua.
Yeah, we're gonna have you back. We have so many more questions, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would love to anytime, man. It's so much fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Keep pushing, keep doing it.
Thank you. You too. Love you guys. Cool.